Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the new Apple TV 4K. But before we do that, if you guys are into tech reviews, movie reviews, and some video games along the way, then please consider subscribing because we do all that here. So the new Apple TV 4K was released early this November, and I actually had quite a tough time getting my hands on this. I pre-ordered this a couple weeks before it released, and I got it a whole week late from Best Buy, and it seems that it was kind of out of stock on Amazon and Best Buy, at least when I was looking for it. So I just thought that was pretty strange, but it seems to have surfaced and is readily available now. So I'm upgrading from the first generation Apple TV 4K, where I've been using this one for quite a while, and I absolutely love the Apple TV. I streamed on an Xbox One and a Series X, a PlayStation 5, you know, the TV apps. I've done all that before, but nothing really compares to the Apple TV. And I think the Apple TV is a must, especially for someone who streams a lot of stuff or is just in the Apple ecosystem, where I have an iPhone, I have an iPad. This is an Apple household, so the Apple TV is just kind of seamlessly brings everything together, and you could put everything onto your TV, which is great. So the new Apple TV right off the bat is noticeably smaller. So this is the old original 4K Apple TV, and this is the newest release. Now, it is much taller, it's skinnier, and much lighter. That is pretty interesting. I guess, you know, that's generally what happens. They slim things down over the course of time, and they find a way to pack the same amount or more technology into a smaller case. But I didn't really mind even this size was fine. And one thing I did notice between the two is the older one has some vents on it where there's a big fan in here, I guess, to cool it off. This has zero venting at all. So there's zero vents, there's no fans, so I guess I don't know how it stays cool, but it does. I've been using it for about a week now, and I absolutely love it. Is it a huge upgrade over the original 4K? The biggest thing I found was it's just much snappier in the menus. Maybe it's the slightest bit clearer. You know, the resolution is, it says it's the same. I'm still running it in 4K 60 Dolby Vision. The original 4K has that as well. Maybe it's just because it's a new one and I want it to look good. It looks good. It's faster. It's got the A15 Bionic chip. That's the newest chipset from Apple, and it is blazing fast compared to the other one. But again, the other one was still fine. If you have an older 4K, you know, it's not bad, or you want an upgrade to a new one, again, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And this is actually a bit cheaper than the other ones were, because the other ones were upward of $200, where this one was $149 because I got the Ethernet model. They also have a cheaper one for, I think, $129 without an Ethernet port and a smaller hard drive. This is 128 gigabytes, where the Wi-Fi only model is only 64 gigabytes. So make sure you pay attention to that. I wanted the Ethernet so I can hardwire it and not have to worry about any loss of signal via Wi-Fi. Now, another big upgrade I noticed was the remote itself. So the remote from the original was mainly a touchpad. There wasn't you know, any hard buttons really to press except for the volume and the mic. And I didn't really like this one. Honestly, I put this to the side and I just used my LG TV remote or my cell phone, my iPhone, to navigate the menus, because this was kind of like the Wii in the beginning, where you couldn't find it on the screen, and it didn't work very well. I absolutely hated using the remote. I could never figure out how to use it, where this one right out of the box works tremendously well. Again, I'm just used to using my TV remote, so I'll probably still continue to do that, but this is a nice backup and it still works fantastic. Plus it has the voice control, and I like the hard buttons, and it still has a little trackpad on it where you can just swipe over, but you can also use the hard buttons and push an actual button if you prefer that. Also, one thing to note is they moved away from the lightning cables. So now it has a USB-C charging cable, which it does not include in the box. The only thing you're going to get in the box is the Apple TV itself, the remote, and the power cable for the Apple TV, and that's it. There's no Ethernet cable, there's no charging cable for the remote, which I thought was a little cheap on them. They should have at least threw in, even if it was a short one, just a charging cable, because I actually didn't even have one. I had to use my girlfriend's Mac charger. Visual quality, this has all the same things as the original. It's got 4K, Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus. Visually, it's just stunning. I remember the first time I plugged in an Apple TV after going from the apps on the TV or the Xbox One or the Series X. It just the menus, like specifically Hulu was one thing I noticed. It just looked so crisp, so clean, so fresh and so clean, so sharp. The colors just on the menus looked fantastic, and the way it streams is by far the best streaming device I've ever used. Disney Plus looks fantastic on the Apple TV Plus, and I love the screensaver settings where if you leave it alone, because I have an OLED, so if you are worried about burn-in after not touching it for a little while, it will just throw up a screensaver on there, and it's just beautiful high-resolution screensavers that are, it would be like cityscapes or the Grand Canyon or like a snowy valley. It's just really beautiful high-resolution pictures. Now, as far as what's new, it really just comes down to the chipset, where it's just a bit faster. It has a bit more performance than the older one. It's just like the iPhones, where basically the same thing, but you're getting a little bit more performance out of it. But it's not a huge noticeable upgrade where you need to run out and go get the brand new phone, unless you're into that kind of thing, because there is people that really, really enjoy getting the brand new phones on day one. I mainly got this to review it, obviously, but I needed another Apple TV in the house, so I said, you know what, instead of buying the model that's out now, I'll wait a couple days and I'll get the newest model. Now, right off Apple's website, basically what they are saying is the newest thing. The new Apple TV 4K brings Apple TV Plus, Apple Music, Apple Fitness Plus, and the Apple Arcade together with all of your favorite streaming devices. So you can do all of that stuff up onto your TV. You can cast all your iPhones, iPads, your MacBooks, all that stuff can be cast from wherever it is in the house onto your Apple TV, onto whatever screen it's connected to. Now, this also connects to all of your other Apple devices and smart home devices, which I do not have any of, so I can't really speak on the performance of that. But it does connect to all of that stuff, so do not worry about if it connects to anything. It'll connect to anything you have that is Apple. Another thing I did want to note about the Apple TV is it does Dolby Atmos fantastic. When you stream, you compress the video, you compress the audio pretty significantly. That's why a physical disc is always going to be the best form to watch a movie on, where the Apple TV, it actually really, really handles Dolby Atmos very well compared to any other streaming device that I've came encounter with. So, if you're an audio guy and you have to stream something or you're streaming something, I think the Apple TV is definitely the best choice as far as a streaming device goes. If you're only using the apps on the TV, or even out of like your 4K player or your Blu-ray player or an Xbox or something, do yourself a favor, pick up an Apple TV, and you'll be kind of blown away almost by how good it looks and sounds. Overall, can I recommend an Apple TV? Absolutely. I think it's a must for any home theater. I think it's a must for anyone who does a lot of streaming. We're big physical media collectors here. We think physical media is definitely the best to watch a movie on. But if you're not into collecting Blu-rays and 4Ks and you just want to stream everything, I think the Apple TV is definitely your answer. If you're, instead of putting your money towards 4K movies and Blu-rays, put your money towards a good streaming device and maybe a good HDMI cable, because this is definitely one of the best streaming devices out there, especially if you have an Apple iPhone or an iPad or something and you can just talk to it like that. And I also like how it just lets me use my TV remote and I can control my whole Apple TV 4K from my LG TV remote. So that's a really nice feature. You cut down on having to have the Apple remote, where I really hated the other one, but this one really isn't too bad. But it's just nice not even have to worry about this, especially because they didn't include a charger. I think it was on sale just recently when it came out. I picked it up for $149. This is the Ethernet model. There is a cheaper model if you don't plan on connecting it to Ethernet. which is hardwiring it, which I would recommend because you can just write off any sort of loss you'll have between the Wi-Fi. I want the highest quality when I'm watching something, so I just cut out the whole Wi-Fi thing, hardwire it, and it's going to look its best. Plus it has a bigger hard drive if you want to store a ton of apps on this. I also had a lot of fun putting on some of my videos I recorded on my phone, or just listening to music while I'm hanging out in my man cave and watching the screensavers on there while I'm listening to Apple Music or whatever I have downloaded on iTunes. If you guys are interested in picking one up, definitely go for the newest model where it's just going to be the best of the 3 4Ks out, and I don't even think you can get the older ones anymore. I think they quietly discontinued those, so this is probably the only model available anyway, unless you find some back stock of the older ones. You know, at this point you might as well just get the newer one with the newest chipset and get the performance out of it, where Apple will probably stop supporting the older model anyway. But if you guys want to pick this up, we'll put a link down in the description. If you want to grab this on Amazon, we'll put our affiliates link down there. And this is the 128 gig, and we will also put a link for the 64 gig Wi-Fi only model. Now the only difference between the Wi-Fi model is you lose the Ethernet port, and it's about half the hard drive space. So you guys choose whatever fits your particular setup, and you make your choice from there. But I recommend the hardwired one with the Ethernet port because I like to hardwire all my devices. But until next time, guys, have a great day.